200,000 hunters that were not voting in Wisconsin, including in a presidential general election. And so we were really targeting them. But boy, as we went around the state, I was hearing from local county offices, Republican headquarters around the state of Wisconsin. They were saying the number of young people that were coming in, especially 18 to 24 years old, it was really off the charts for us Republicans. Now, does that translate into 2026? I think that's one of the big questions. And certainly we're going to try to motivate them to vote. I don't know if we're going to have to do a lot to motivate them, because I think they're highly motivated at this point. You know, for a lot of people like my age, we didn't have a full appreciation for what Charlie Kirk stood for. But I'm telling you, amongst young people, he was an icon. And of course now, I mean, it approaches martyrdom at this point after what happened to him, that he would go on these college campuses. And remember, Republicans, kind of shied away from the college campuses. He said, I'm going to them and I'm going to go talk to people, in a great American tradition of, people like Abraham Lincoln and others, that they went out and said, we're going to talk to the American people. Charlie Kirk was one of them. And it will be very interesting in 2026 to see the turnout we get on college campuses. I can guarantee you, I will be on the college campuses around the state of Wisconsin.
Molly, back with the Journal Sentinel, how would you freeze farmland taxes?
You don't have them go up?
But how would you do that as governor?
Do you want to get into the technicalities of that?
Yeah.
So take a look at the state budget. For the first time, it went over $100 billion. What was it? Just under $100 billion this last budget. It was 112, I think, the final budget. I mean, just an enormous increase in spending. Wisconsin's budget is now almost as large as Florida, and Florida has 3.5 times as many people. There's plenty of money in Madison that I think we can help out those local municipalities to do the property tax freeze. Because I'm assuming that's what you're driving at, is if you freeze property taxes at the local level, where are the schools and the local municipalities going to get their money, right? I think the state can help out, especially after the spending blowout with this budget.
Would you sign a suspension of school referendums, or would you want to make any changes to how school referendums can happen?
I haven't dug that deep into the details. I'd have to study that a little bit, Molly, in terms of the
Congressman, we talked about fundraising yesterday. What did the first 24 hours for you look like in this campaign?
It looks awesome. We're going to raise a lot of money. We have to raise a lot of money. I mean, we know this is going to be a very expensive race. I'm figuring we got to raise $30 to $40 million, and we are off to a very good start. And we may well announce numbers in about a week.
How about right now? What happens overnight?
We got people that are making commitments. I mean, I'm driving all over the state of Wisconsin today, and I was talking to people that were making commitments, and I think you're going to see more people climb on board here. I mean, I got to prove myself to people of the state of Wisconsin, and I think they're seeing with this rollout. I mean, look at the energy in that barn tonight. These are people that are really motivated to get out and support us. And it is northern and western Wisconsin that outvoted Madison and Milwaukee last November for President Trump. With 95% turnout in some of these counties, Taylor County, Barron County, others, we need to juice up that turnout just like that in 2026 to be able to run, or in order to be able to win. And if tonight is any evidence of that, I think we got some of that juice.
Congressman Isabel Nieto with WXCO. You mentioned in your speech that you used to be a dam tender. What are your thoughts on Wisconsin being the second worst in the nation for dam failures?
Well, let's make sure that we repair them. I think that for too long, both local and state government have taken a detour in taking care of the basics, making sure that our infrastructure is fixed. Dams are one of them that we should make sure that they are getting fixed. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that should be at the top of the list. To me, that is the needs of the people of the state of Wisconsin, not the wants. Sometimes our elected officials like Governor Evers and others get those two things mixed up, wants and needs.
Derek Fritz, News Watch 12.
Hey, Derek.
During your speech, you mentioned education in Wisconsin. Would you be able to elaborate on how you plan to address the education problem in Wisconsin?
So, first of all, the Department of Public Instruction is allowed lower standards. I mean, we've seen that, right? That's been a story over the last year where they've allowed They've changed the test scores to hide that there's declining standards going on in Wisconsin. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to have higher standards here in Wisconsin, and we're going to have honest report cards. We are going to reward good teachers, and we're going to make sure that administrators in the schools around Wisconsin, that they're going to produce results. That's what we always did in Wisconsin. We have a proud history. I mean, we have been in the top 5 on ACT tests. I mean, we were in the top 5 forever. And now we're dropping out of that because we're using gimmicks and fads to teach our children. We got to get back to the basics, teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And by the way, also, we need to get cell phones out of schools. We need kids to be able to pay attention. I hear from teachers all the time that they're saying, the kids just don't pay attention to me anymore. And some of them are leaving the profession. We want good teachers to stay here in Wisconsin because they are invaluable. My 7 brothers and sisters, we went to public school over in Elmwood, Wisconsin. We had good teachers. My daughters, they'll tell you, they had good teachers up at that Lakeland School District and in the grade school up there. And those good teachers are invaluable. We need to make sure we reward them in the classroom, make sure there's discipline in the classroom, and one of the ways we can do that is get the cell phones out of the classroom.
Mike Leishner, WSAU, I believe you know where I work.
Hey, Mike, yes, I do.
Do you have the endorsement of Donald Trump, or have you not spoken with him about that
I
yet?
spoke to the president back in August when Governor Evers announced that he was not going to run, and I let the president know that I'm seriously considering it. We had a good discussion, largely revolving around the 7th Congressional District, and I have not talked to him since. And we will see how he responds. If he chooses to endorse me, I will certainly welcome that endorsement.
Do you think MPS should be broken up into smaller districts as some other Republicans have proposed?
You know, that's a really good question in regards to MPS. The school district has to start reforming, or excuse me, it has to start performing. And if it doesn't perform, we're going to have to reform it. I mean, it would be a Herculean task for the state to come in and take over the school. I don't want to do that, but we can't leave these kids behind like they have been. I mean, when you have schools that are just utterly failing, it's unacceptable in Wisconsin. And by the way, though, it isn't just MPS at this point. I mean, when you have 31% of children that are reading at grade level in the 4th grade of Wisconsin, that's not just Milwaukee, that's going on around the state of Wisconsin. Some of the fads got to go away that don't use phonics in their reading in curricula. Go ahead.
Democrats are looking at trying to split the state legislature. Potentially, if it's Democratic or split, how would you work with that type of legislature?
You work with them. I mean, I'm willing to work with anybody on the issues that are out there, but I'm not going to set my principles aside. I mean, take education. We have to reform it now. It's failing. You look at, we're in the bottom 10 states in terms of entrepreneurial activity. That has to change. When I was in the legislature a decade ago, we were headed for the top 10 best states. Now we're in the bottom 10. That has to change. And so those type of things, to me, are non-negotiable, because we know what makes a successful state here in the United States of America. All you have to do is look at the ones that are successful.
Republicans and Democrats in the legislature today introduced a number of election bills. Do you trust the current electoral process? Do you trust elections in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I do trust elections in Wisconsin, but there's certainly reforms that should be done. I mean, those election bills that, I don't know if some of them are a repeat from a few years ago that we saw. If they are, I would sign some of those. And it's unfortunate that Governor Evers doesn't want to have good, strong election integrity. The people of the state of Wisconsin want election integrity. All you have to do is look at the referendums that have passed over the last couple years. They've sent a strong message to policymakers. We want to have good, secure, honest elections. And all you got to do is look at what happened in the city of Madison. Over 2,000 duplicate ballots went out inappropriately in the November election. We called that out, and we were hounded by the media in regards to that. A few members of the media, and none of you that I see here. But then it turned out later that they didn't count almost 200 ballots, and they had to, I don't know if they fired or removed the city clerk in Madison. We need to have honest elections, and we need people operating our elections that are honest. And so election integrity is a big deal. So anyhow, I gotta close it up here. And thank you so much for coming out tonight. I gotta run for a minute, but thank you for coming out.
Thank you guys for coming. You can always reach me.